What's up guys, thanks for joining me down in the Gecko Lab for another video. I am Brian and today we're doing a product review of the Evergreen Pet Supplies Reptile Humidifier, or if you turn the box this way, the Reptile Fogger. I don't know what they call it, but we're gonna review it. We're gonna open this guy up, show you everything inside, compare it to the Zoomed Reptile Fogger that I did a review of a couple weeks back, let you know the pros and cons of each, which one I think is a better fit for you with crested geckos, and give you some info on why you should be using one of these with your geckos. Let's get right into it. Now, if you guys missed the last video we did on the Zoomed Reptile Fogger, let me hit a couple of points on why these are so good for crested geckos. What these guys are really good for is maintaining higher humidity levels through your tank throughout the day, as well as giving you a good gradient of humidity levels. So we know crested geckos like higher humidity, but they also like periods where it dries out during the day. So these are great if you combine this with a regular wall timer like you would use for a lamp to have it cycle on and off throughout the day. It gives them humidity spikes as this puts out a nice soft fog that flows down through their tank, raises that humidity, gives them some drinking water, and then lets the cage dry out as the day goes on. These are great for that. I highly recommend them. It makes maintaining proper humidity so much easier. Now, the Zoomed had a couple flaws that I didn't like about it, though overall it was a very good unit and I do recommend it. This one I think comes with a couple things that are gonna fix some of those flaws. Let's open this guy up and have a look. I have not opened this up yet myself, so we are going to do this together. Real easy instruction guide there. Bag with all the parts. This is going to be your tank that holds the water, and then we have the base, and that's pretty much it. That's all that's in there, guys. Real simple. I like this one. It doesn't look like a whole lot of setup either. So here's one of the things that fixes a flaw I had with the Zoomed tank. Now the Zoomed tank, much like this one, I like the feature that it's got a stopper. It's got a spring-loaded stopper here, so when you fill your tank up with water and you screw this back on, that stopper doesn't let the water leak out when you flip it over, and then this post here pushes that spring up, and when you set it down it allows the water to enter the base. I like that. It makes it easy not to spill stuff everywhere. What I like about this over the Zoomed is this is a 2-liter tank. The Zoomed has a 1-liter tank, so this holds twice as much water, which means you're not going to have to fill it as often. You don't have to worry as much about, is it running dry, is my gecko drying out. Holds twice as much water. That's a big plus for me. I really like that. Also, this is a matter of opinion, but I think this one looks better than the Zoomed. I do wish that the Zoomed has the clear tank. I wish this one had a clear tank. I'm not a huge fan of this kind of weird off greenish blue color that they did on their plastic tank here, but I do like that they put some effort into styling it. I still don't think it's great looking, but I prefer this over the Zoomed. Your mileage may vary. You might think the other one's better looking. That's negotiable, but that's very nice. Similar to the Zoomed, this one has the white float you can see in here. You can see that little white float in there. That's an automatic shut-off system. So that little piece of styrofoam floats up, and when it hits the top, that allows this unit to turn on. So even if your power switch is on, if that float is down, it will not turn on. When the float comes up, because there's enough water, it allows it to turn on, and that's huge because the ultrasonic units that create the fog in these, if they're getting power and they're run dry, they will burn out very quickly and it will ruin them. So that's a very good feature. The Zoomed has that feature as well, so I'm really glad to see that carried over into this one. This one says it also has a fan, which I'm assuming that's what this is. The fan that will blow the air up, which is nice because another feature I like on this one over the Zoomed is the size of the tube. The tube on this one is up to 5 feet long. That's almost twice as long as the Zoomed tube. So this one you can stretch out a full 5 feet which means you don't need to put this right next to your tank like you do with the Zoom Ed. This one will reach a lot further, and as long as there's not a dip in the hose like that where the water can run backwards if it gets condensation in here, that's all you need to worry about. One good arc up to 5 feet away. That gives you a lot more flexibility. That was something I didn't like about the Zoom Ed. The hose was not as long. This one's longer. I like that. And I can also see in the bag something else that I like that the Zoom Ed did not come with, and that is, well, they don't really fit around there. They'd have to be stretched out, but suction cups. That means you suction cup these right to the side. That goes through there. This sits like this, and it will hold it in place on your tank. This was one of my biggest complaints about the Zoom Ed, is there was no way to attach the hose on the Zoom Ed to the tank, so you just kind of let it sit here, and if it got knocked, it would fall on the floor. There was nothing to keep it in place. These come with a couple little suction cups. Those look like they will work very well to keep it in place and hopefully make it a lot easier to not have to worry about this, because that's kind of the idea here, is you set it and forget it. So let's unravel this, and then we will get this guy set up. I'll fill it with water and we'll test it out. So it looks like, based on the instructions, that goes in there. This is all set up. This looks very nice, not much to do. This guy goes on here. It's a little on. So this piece does not look like the piece in the photo they give me, but there's really not very many instructions, and this piece can only go one spot, so that fits snugly right there. And then it says the bigger end goes on. Extend the hose and place the end in on the top side of the 350. Place the larger end of the extendable hose on the black neck of the humidifier tank. That should now be standing upright. It is upright. Neither of these is larger. These are the exact same size. So I'm not sure why they mean the larger one, and I can tell already, why would you want the larger one when this is already much bigger than the neck coming out? In fact, I am not at all sure how this is supposed to stay on there. Maybe when it's extended, it's... I don't know. So right away we're having a problem because, well, based on the picture, this guy goes on this end, and I guess that gives you a little nozzle to sit flat like that. Though once again, I don't know how you're supposed to get these suction cups on. So you can get the suction cups on. They just take a little bit of work, which is fine. That is just not the easiest thing ever, but that's okay. In theory, you work this guy down here, get it all twisted up. I want that to stick there. That goes on the end of there. What I'm wondering is, what are you supposed to do here? You guys see this? It's obviously, these two are not the same size. So does it just sit there? It's interesting because this piece does not look like the piece on the picture, and that's all you get is one picture. And there's really no instructions. That is disappointing. This is almost so perfect. Let's go ahead and test it out. We'll just set it on there like that. Let me go fill this up with water. We'll give it a test and see how it works with it just sitting there. But that is disappointing because I so want to like this so much. And it's just got a couple strange things that are keeping it from being perfect. Let's test it out and see how it works. All right, guys, so I went ahead and filled this guy with some water. I've got it plugged in. I'm going to test it out without the cord first, or without the tube. Real quick, I did get both suction cups on here in a good spot. It's a little bit of work. You kind of have to turn them and twist them to get them on there without messing the hose up. Not a great solution, but it does work, and it's much better than just a freestanding hose on the Zoom Ed. But this could be executed so much better. This little piece, I thought maybe was supposed to go here. I think this might be what it's supposed to do. The picture shows this piece on the end like this going into the tank. So I think what this is supposed to be actually is it looks like this kind of, I don't even actually, it kind of fits onto there, and then maybe No, that's not right, because the side that goes on there also needs to go in here, which means it would have to go this way, and it kind of sticks. I don't know. I'm going to do it like that. This is really kind of frustrating though, because this piece doesn't look like the piece in the picture. There's no instructions about what this piece is or how to use it. It very clearly goes here on this part of the unit, and this in the picture goes up here. It's just kind of confusing and a bit frustrating. Let's just test it out without the hose on. Turn it on. The power switch is on the back on this one, and then the front is just the adjuster. So let's try it here. That's low. Yeah, you can definitely see the fan pushes the fog out pretty well, which makes sense because with the 5-foot cord, it needs a pretty good fan to get it through there. And then as you turn it up, oh yeah, definitely a lot more fog coming out. It looks good. Yeah, it works really well. It's just the execution of how it's put together is a bit odd. So let's try it into the tank. I really want to stretch this out a little bit, and you need this to stretch all the way out. Your suction cups go on the back like that, which this is how I would want to use it, is something like this, where even like that, yeah, that's much better than the Zoom Edge. You see how this is suction cupped on, and that's gonna stay there and not fall out. And in theory, now if I turn this bad boy on, perfect, it's coming right out. Absolutely perfect. So I'm a little bit of a loss for words for this one, because I like the style, I like the build, the execution a lot better. So you can see I turn it up here and it's got a lot more fog coming out. That works great. Yeah, definitely when you set it up, you don't want a low spot in the cord like this, because the water will condense, eventually fill this, and it'll quit working. But with a proper setup, this could be on the floor and this is up on a table. The cord, the hose is long enough. I like this. I really like this. The only disappointing part is this top part, and you can see already there's some of the fog leaking out of this because it's just not a very good fit. I don't know where all the pieces are supposed to go. It's almost such a good execution. The Evergreen Pet Supplies version, I wanted to like it so much better. It's got more going for it than the Zoom Ed, but it's a bit frustrating because you're losing half your fog out the bottom here, and it just like it's like they built two different kinds and threw the pieces together and they don't all fit. So take from that what you will, guys. I think they both work great. If I was going with one, I would probably go with this one just because I like the suction cups, I like the longer cord, I like the bigger reservoir. I think that's a lot of positives that just make it more useful and more reliable, but it's definitely not perfect, and it's really frustrating that there's not a really good solid option out there. But there you go. That's a good review. That's a good look at it. I would recommend either of these if you're looking to pick one up. They both work well. Check out our review on the Zoom Ed one if you didn't already. Links for this one down below. That's gonna do it for me. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Brian, altitudeexotics.com. We'll catch you later. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section down below. See you guys.